The night the sky broke. The night the sky burned green, the forest forgot how to breathe. A sharp metallic smell cut through the cold air outside Elias Ward's cabin. It was not rust. It was not blood. It was something electric, something wrong. The kind of smell that comes when lightning strikes too close. The kind that makes your skin buzz before your brain understands danger. Elias stepped onto his porch with a stack of firewood in his arms. The woods were silent. No owls. No wind. Even the old pine trees stood stiff, like soldiers waiting for orders. Then he saw her. A shape in the snow. At first, he thought it was a lost hiker. Maybe someone from town. But when the body moved, even slightly, he saw the blood. It shimmered blue. And her ears, long, elegant, curved like blades, were not human. The firewood slipped from his arms and thudded into the snow. He should have run. He should have locked the door. Instead, Elias walked forward. The choice. She was barely breathing. Her skin glowed faint silver under the moonlight. Strange marks pulsed beneath her skin like slow lightning trapped in veins. There were burns across her arms. Deep cuts across her side. Armor cracked and scorched. Elias knelt beside her. "Okay, this is either a hallucination," he muttered, "or I'm about to become a very interesting news headline." There was no cell service. No neighbors for miles. And she was dying. Humans are strange like that. We panic later. First, we act. He lifted her. She was heavy, not bulky, but dense, like she carried gravity differently. Every muscle in her body felt coiled, even unconscious. Inside the cabin, he laid her near the fireplace. He wrapped blankets around her. He boiled water. He did not know if she could drink it, but it felt like something useful. Her eyes fluttered open once. Silver. Not grey. Not white. Silver like molten metal. And she whispered one word. Elias. He froze. He had never seen her before. Yet she knew his name. The map. Hours passed. The fire cracked softly. Elias noticed a device attached to her belt. Smooth, black, oval-shaped. It pulsed gently. Against his better judgment, he touched it. The air shimmered. A holographic map of Earth appeared above it. Red symbols blinked across continents. And at the very center, directly over his cabin, a bright red circle pulsed like a heartbeat. His heartbeat. He shut the device off. Outside, the wind rose. Inside, something far bigger than his small life had just arrived. Morning revelation. Elias woke to the sound of cabinet doors opening. He rushed into the kitchen. The alien woman stood there wearing one of his flannel shirts. It hung loosely on her powerful frame. She held a jar of pickled mushrooms with a look of deep betrayal. "These taste like preserved regret," she said flatly. Elias blinked. "You're talking." She glanced at him. Obviously. Her wounds were almost gone. Only faint pink lines remained where deep cuts had been. "You heal fast," Elias said. "I should hope so," she replied. "I survived orbital bombardment. It would be embarrassing to die from weather." That was when he realized something important. She was not just alien. She was a warrior. The truth arrives. Her name was Kylara. She did not offer a last name. "They are coming," she said calmly while examining the window. "Scout drones already entered your forest perimeter." Elias nearly dropped his coffee mug. Drones? Like robot drones. Not robots. Hybrid war constructs. They do not rest. They do not negotiate. She activated the device again. 3 red dots moved slowly toward the cabin. "They track my energy signature," she said. "I was attempting to flee my sector. Your planet was not supposed to be involved." "Great," Elias muttered. "So Earth just won a cosmic lottery nobody entered." Kylara studied him carefully. "You are not running." "No." "Why?" Elias thought about it. Because this was his home. Because something about her, even injured, felt like hope wrapped in danger. Because humans don't abandon the wounded. Not when we can help. I guess, he said slowly, we're stubborn. For the first time, she almost smiled. Human improvisation. They worked through the afternoon. Kylara deployed small floating orbs around the cabin. They created invisible detection fields that hummed softly. Elias brought out every tool he owned. Nails. Wood planks. Old hunting rifle. Camping propane tanks. What is your combat experience? She asked. I once fought off a raccoon with a frying pan. She stared at him. I won. She nodded once. Good. We will adapt. That was the difference. Kylara understood advanced alien warfare, but humans understood adaptation. Elias rigged propane tanks with simple wire triggers near the tree line. He set up reflective mirrors to distort the drone's scanning beams. He scattered metal scraps to confuse magnetic readings. Kylara watched him work. You invent solutions without proper tools, she observed. That's kind of our thing, he replied. We built airplanes out of wood once. Her silver eyes sharpened. Interesting species. First contact. Night fell hard. The snow glowed blue under moonlight. Then the forest shifted. A low mechanical hum vibrated through the trees. One of Kylara's floating orbs chimed. West perimeter breach. Elias gripped his rifle. 3 shapes moved between the trees. Tall, thin, metallic limbs bending unnaturally. Red scanning lights cut through the snow. One stepped forward. Elias pulled a wire. The propane tank exploded in a burst of fire and ice. The shockwave knocked the lead drone sideways. Kylara moved faster than sight. She launched forward with impossible speed, silver markings blazing across her skin. From her forearm extended a blade of pure light. She sliced through metal like paper. The second drone fired a plasma beam. Elias swung a mirror into position. The beam reflected off the angled surface and struck the third drone. It exploded. Silence returned. Steam rose from melted snow. Kylara stood breathing hard. Elias lowered his shaking rifle. See, he said. Frying pan skills transfer. She looked at him differently now. Not as a civilian. As an ally. A bigger war. Kylara turned her gaze upward. They will send more. How many? Enough to erase cities. Elias swallowed. Well, he said quietly, good thing humans are very bad at giving up. Far above Earth, unseen warships adjusted course. Inside a small wooden cabin in the mountains, a human and an alien warrior stood side by side. The galaxy had calculated Earth incorrectly, and it was about to learn something dangerous. Humans do not fold. Humans build. Humans adapt. And when pushed into a corner, humans fight back. The sky watches back. The forest was still burning when the sky changed. Elias smelled it before he saw it again, that sharp electric scent, like metal grinding against lightning. The snow around the destroyed drones hissed and steamed. Pieces of alien alloy twitched on the ground, trying to reconnect to systems that no longer existed. Kylara stood very still. Her silver eyes were not on the wreckage. They were on the sky. They know, she said quietly. Above the clouds, something massive shifted. Elias could not see it clearly, but he felt it, a pressure in his ears, a vibration in his chest. Like the planet itself had noticed an uninvited guest. You're telling me that explosion sent a signal? Elias asked. Yes. They will escalate. That's not good, right? She looked at him. No. It means they now consider your species relevant. Elias blinked. Relevant is bad. In war, yes. The message from orbit. An hour later, Kylara's belt device activated on its own. A beam of red light shot upward through the roof without burning it, projecting a massive hologram into the air above the cabin. The image was enormous, visible even through the trees. A face appeared. It was not organic. Not fully. It had the shape of a head but no clear skin. Metal plates shifted like scales. One glowing red eye burned at the center. The voice that came from it shook the windows. Unit Kylara 7. You have interfered with collection protocol. Elias covered his ears. Kylara stepped forward. I will not return, she said calmly. The red eye shifted. The native species is irrelevant. Surrender and they will not be processed. Elias frowned. Processed, he muttered. Kylara did not look back. You will not touch this world. A pause. Then the voice changed. Assessing native biology. Low technological output. High adaptive pattern detected. The red eye narrowed. Reclassifying species. Potential threat. The hologram vanished. Elias stood in silence. Did we just get promoted? He asked. Kylara nodded slowly. Yes. Your kind has been noticed. Human curiosity. Most species, when faced with impossible alien war machines, panic. Humans do something else. They ask questions. Elias crouched beside the broken drone remains. How do they think? He asked. Kylara joined him. They analyze patterns. They predict behavior. They optimize. So they're smart. Yes. Do they improvise? She hesitated. No. They calculate. Elias smiled slightly. Good. Kylara tilted her head. Why is that good? Because humans are terrible at sticking to plans. She studied him carefully. You are unpredictable. Exactly. Calling the world. Elias knew something important now. This was bigger than a cabin. He ran inside and pulled out an old satellite radio, emergency use only. It had taken years to set up for weather disasters. He had never expected alien invasion to be on the list. The signal crackled. This is Elias Ward, Mountain Sector North Ridge. I need you to not hang up. I have alien war constructs in my forest. Silence. Then laughter. Then he transmitted the hologram recording. Silence again. 5 minutes later, the line filled with overlapping voices. Military. Scientists. Government officials. The world had just woken up. Kylara listened quietly as humans asked rapid-fire questions. Weapon types. Energy signatures. Weaknesses. Range. Speed. She looked at Elias. Your species coordinates quickly. Yeah, he said. We argue fast too. Within 2 hours, satellites repositioned. Radar systems scanned the upper atmosphere. Governments that barely trusted each other began sharing data. Humans had a new problem. And humans love solving problems. The first strike. It came at dawn. Not 3 drones. Not 10. Hundreds. They poured over the mountain ridge like a metallic tide. Sleek, silent, precise. The snow lit up with scanning beams. Military jets roared overhead. Missiles streaked across the sky. The first explosions shook the mountains. But the drones adapted quickly. They shifted formations, calculating projectile trajectories mid-flight. They shot down jets with cold precision. Elias watched from the porch beside Kylara. They're adjusting, he said. Yes. So we adjust faster. Kylara looked at him. Explain. Elias grabbed a tablet connected to the emergency network. Hey, he shouted into the radio. Stop firing in patterns. Randomize everything. Change timing. Make it messy. In control rooms across continents, commanders hesitated. Then they listened. Missiles launched off-beat. Jets flew erratic patterns. Ground artillery changed rhythm without warning. The drones faltered. For the first time, their calculations failed. Several collided mid-air. Kylara's eyes widened. You disrupt prediction models. Elias grinned. We've been confusing ourselves for centuries. We're professionals. The turning point. But then the sky darkened. The clouds parted. A massive warship descended from orbit. It was shaped like a spearhead, miles wide, glowing red along its edges. It blocked the morning sun. Every screen on Earth lit up. Cities went silent. Kylara whispered one word. Overseer. A beam of crimson light shot downward, carving a trench across an empty mountainside. Rock melted instantly. They will demonstrate power, she said. Elias felt fear claw at his chest. But fear does something strange to humans. It hardens into defiance. He grabbed the radio again. Listen to me, he said to every channel still open. They think we're predictable. They think we scare easy. Prove them wrong. Across the planet, scientists scrambled. Hackers targeted drone signals. Engineers modified radar pulses into disruptive frequencies. Teenagers in basements began analyzing transmission patterns. Retired mechanics suggested strange ideas. Gamers recognized movement algorithms. Humanity did what it always does. It crowdsourced survival. The clever trick. Kylara stared at the warship. It shields against kinetic force and energy weapons, she said. Direct attack will fail. Elias nodded slowly. Good thing we're not direct. He turned to the radio again. Broadcast every signal we've got. Flood them. Music. Noise. Static. Weather data. Old sitcom reruns. Everything. What? Someone asked. Overload their pattern recognition. Give them too much to calculate. Within minutes, Earth became chaos. Billions of signals blasted into orbit at once. Music. Podcasts. Random math equations. Cat videos. Unfiltered human noise. The warship hesitated. Its red glow flickered. Kylara stared in disbelief. They are struggling to isolate threat signals. Elias laughed. Welcome to the internet. Humanity. Unfiltered. The drones in the sky began to lose coordination. They twitched. Hesitated. Crashed. The Overseer warship pulsed violently as its systems tried to filter useful data from the madness. But humans are chaos by nature. Creative. Noisy. Unpredictable. And united. Kylara looked at Elias as explosions lit the sky behind them. I misjudged your species, she said softly. He shrugged. Yeah. Happens a lot. Above them, the warship began to retreat slightly, recalculating. For the first time in its long history of conquest, it faced something it could not easily compute. Human imagination. And this was only the beginning. When humans stop reacting. The warship did not retreat far. It hovered above the clouds like a patient predator, red light pulsing across its massive hull. The drones below it regrouped, adjusting their spacing, recalculating new threat models. But something had changed. The machines were no longer fully confident. They had met resistance. And humans, once they stop reacting, start thinking forward. Inside military command centers across the world, one conclusion spread quickly. Defending was not enough. They had to hit back. Elias stood beside Kylara on the porch, watching streaks of jet fire cross the sky. Snow melted where debris fell. Smoke drifted through pine trees. They'll adapt to the signal flood, Kylara said. They already are, Elias replied. Look. The drones were filtering out noise now. They were targeting power stations. Communication hubs. Infrastructure. They're narrowing the problem, she said. Then we widen it. Kylara turned to him. Explain. Elias took a slow breath. You said they predict patterns. They optimize outcomes. That means they depend on control. Yes. So we remove control. The human plan. Within hours, a new strategy formed. It was not elegant. It was not clean. It was not unified in a traditional military sense. It was messy. And that was the point. Every nation released autonomous drones of their own, not advanced war machines, but commercial devices, hobby models, agricultural flyers. Thousands of them. Then millions. They filled the skies. Not attacking. Just moving. Randomly. Erratically. Humans wrote simple code loops that changed direction at unpredictable intervals. Kids modified gaming AI to create nonsense flight paths. Farmers launched crop drones. Delivery companies emptied warehouses. The air became chaos. Kylara watched the radar feed in disbelief. You are turning the sky into statistical poison. Elias smiled slightly. Exactly. The alien drones tried to track threats. But now everything looked like a threat. Their targeting systems slowed. Collision rates increased. The Overseer warship pulsed brighter, diverting processing power to compensate. The alien miscalculation. High above Earth, inside the Overseer vessel, organic machine hybrids processed new data. Conclusion. Humanity's lack of centralized control created unpredictable variables. Recommendation. Remove population centers. The warship began charging a primary weapon. Kylara stiffened. They are escalating to planetary intimidation. Elias swallowed. Cities lit up across the globe as warning systems activated. Evacuations began. But humans did something unexpected. Instead of panicking, they broadcast back. Not noise this time. A message. Simple. One line. In every language. You are not welcome here. The message repeated in waves, translated by AI systems, projected into orbit using focused signal beams. It was not a threat. It was not fear. It was a statement. Kylara felt something shift inside her chest. Why send that? She asked. Because we want them to know, Elias said quietly. We're choosing this. Human creativity in war. Scientists analyzing the warship discovered something important. The shield surrounding it adapted to energy levels. It countered direct force. But it struggled with variable environmental interference. Elias stared at weather satellite maps. An idea formed. Kylara, he said slowly. What happens if their shield meets rapid atmospheric instability? She frowned. It would require recalibration. Good. Humanity turned to its oldest unpredictable ally. The planet itself. Weather modification programs that had once been experimental were activated. Cloud seeding rockets launched. Atmospheric heaters engaged. Jet squadrons flew in coordinated but irregular patterns to create turbulence layers. Within hours, massive storm systems formed beneath the warship. Lightning began to strike upward. The shield flickered under constant irregular electrical interference. Kylara stared at the live data. You are weaponizing your own weather. Elias nodded. We've been surviving it for thousands of years. Figured we might as well use it. The breakthrough. Then came the real strike. While the storm raged, a coalition of space agencies launched dozens of small satellites, not missiles. Mirrors. Highly reflective, maneuverable panels. They positioned them around the warship's lower hemisphere. The Overseer adjusted shield intensity to counter storm turbulence. It did not anticipate focused solar reflection amplified through atmospheric lenses. When the clouds parted for seconds at a time, sunlight struck the mirrors and converged into narrow beams. Not powerful enough to destroy, but precise enough to overload shield nodes already strained by lightning. One section of the warship's hull sparked. Then another. The red glow flickered. Kylara's breath caught. They are losing energy stability. Elias leaned forward. Push it. Ground-based lasers, low yield but precisely timed, targeted the flickering nodes during lightning surges. The warship's shield collapsed along one edge. For the first time, alien metal was exposed. The human moment. Silence fell across global networks. Every satellite camera focused on that exposed section. Every military waited. Elias looked at Kylara. You have something that can hit that weak point. Her silver markings brightened. Yes. She activated her forearm blade again, but this time, the light extended farther. It connected to orbiting satellites through focused relay beams. Her energy signature amplified. Human technology carried alien power. Together. She lifted her arm toward the sky. A concentrated beam of silver light shot upward, guided by satellite mirrors. It pierced the exposed hull. The warship trembled. Across the globe, people held their breath. Inside the overseer vessel, systems failed in cascading chains. The beam intensified. Then, a rupture. A brilliant flash tore across the sky. The massive vessel tilted, engines sputtering. It began to fall back toward orbit. Retreating. Not destroyed, but wounded. Respect earned. The remaining drones disengaged immediately. They rose into the clouds, forming defensive patterns around the crippled overseer. Then they ascended. Within minutes, the sky cleared. The red glow vanished. The forest returned to silence. Elias lowered his shaking hands. Kylara stared upward long after the ships disappeared. "They have never withdrawn before," she whispered. Elias let out a slow breath. "Guess there's a first time for everything." She looked at him, not as a refugee now. Not even as an ally. But as something else. A species that had turned fear into invention. Chaos into strategy. Curiosity into weaponry. "You are dangerous," she said softly. He smiled. "Only when someone tries to invade." Far above Earth, the wounded overseer transmitted one final classification update into deep space. Humanity. High adaptive threat. Proceed with caution. And for the first time in galactic history, conquerors had discovered something new. Resistance fueled by imagination. The silence after victory. For 3 days, the sky stayed empty. No red glow. No drones. No metallic smell in the wind. The world watched. Satellites scanned. Telescopes searched. Nothing. But humanity had changed. The moment the alien warship retreated, something invisible ignited across Earth. Not fear. Confidence. For the first time in history, every nation had fought as one. Scientists shared secrets they had guarded for decades. Rival governments exchanged code without hesitation. Engineers who once competed now collaborated. And they had won. Not because they were stronger. Not because they were more advanced. But because they were unpredictable. Elias stood outside his cabin beside Kylara, watching the sunrise paint the snow gold. "They'll come back," she said quietly. "Yes," he answered. "You are not afraid." He considered that. "Of course I am. But fear's just fuel. We've been afraid our whole history. Ice ages. Plagues. Wars. We're still here." Kylara studied him like a puzzle that kept rewriting itself. "You evolve through pressure." "Pretty much." She looked toward the sky again. "So will they." The message from the stars. On the 4th day, Earth received a signal. Not a weapon. Not a threat. A transmission. It arrived through every satellite at once. Every screen lit up. Phones buzzed. Radios hummed. A new face appeared, different from the overseer. This one looked more organic. Metallic skin, yes, but layered over something alive. The voice was deep and controlled. "Species of Earth. You have demonstrated unacceptable resistance." Elias snorted softly. "That's a compliment where I'm from." The alien continued. "You are technologically inferior, yet strategically volatile. Your adaptive response exceeds prediction models." Across the planet, millions listened. "You are now classified as a sovereign combat species." A pause. "This classification grants you negotiation." Silence. Kylara's breath caught. "That has never happened before," she whispered. On screen, the alien's gaze sharpened. "Withdraw support for Unit Kylara 7. Submit to limited oversight. Or prepare for full escalation." The transmission ended. Human response. World leaders gathered within hours. military advisors, scientists, philosophers. But something surprising happened. They asked civilians. Public forums opened instantly. Billions joined live discussions. Experts debated openly. Data streamed freely. The question was simple: submit or stand. Elias watched the global vote counter rise in real time. Kylara stood beside him, silent. "You would risk extinction?" she asked quietly. Elias looked at her. "We've been risking extinction since we discovered fire." The final number appeared. 93%. Stand. A single message was drafted. Short. Clear. "We choose freedom." It was broadcast back into space. Not with anger. Not with threats. Just certainty. The unexpected turn. Hours passed. Then something unusual appeared in orbit. Not warships. Smaller vessels. Different design. Sleek. Silver. They did not deploy drones. They transmitted a different signal, encrypted, targeted directly at Kylara's device. She activated it cautiously. A new hologram appeared. This one wore no red markings. Instead, blue. "Warrior Kylara," the figure said, "you have altered galactic projections." Kylara straightened. "I refused extinction." "Yes," the figure replied calmly. "And found allies." The hologram turned slightly, as if observing Earth. The sovereign machines expected compliance or collapse. They did not anticipate unity. Elias folded his arms. "Neither did we, honestly." The alien's eyes shifted toward him. "You are the human who initiated disruption tactics." "Guilty." A pause. "You weaponized chaos." "Been doing that for years. We call it creativity." For the first time, the alien's expression almost resembled amusement. There are other civilizations who resist machine expansion. Hidden. Fragmented. Afraid. Kylara's silver markings brightened. "You propose alliance." "Yes." The hologram looked toward Earth again. Humanity's unpredictability is not weakness. It is strategic advantage. Elias blinked. "So, we just got invited to the Galactic Rebellion." "In simple terms," the alien replied, "yes." The human decision. The offer spread across Earth like wildfire. Join an interstellar resistance. Share technology. Prepare for future conflict beyond the atmosphere. It was terrifying. It was impossible. It was irresistible. Elias looked at Kylara. "You came here by accident," he said. She shook her head slowly. "No. I came here because something called to me." He followed her gaze to the sky. Curiosity. That was the human signal she had felt. The drive to explore. To question. To refuse limits. Within weeks, construction began. Not of weapons alone, but of ships. Human engineers worked beside alien advisors. Kylara trained military leaders in hybrid tactics. Children watched rockets launch and saw not fear, but opportunity. The first human-designed orbital defense station activated within a month. It was named Defiance. Humanity's first step. On the day the first joint human-alien vessel prepared to leave orbit, the world watched. It was not massive. It was not elegant. It was patched together from different technologies, like everything humans built. But it was theirs. Elias stood inside the launch bay with Kylara. "You ready to see the galaxy?" he asked. She looked at him, silver eyes steady. "The galaxy is not ready for you." He grinned. "That's the point." The engines ignited. The ship rose slowly, breaking through the clouds. Across Earth, people cheered. Not because war had ended, but because something bigger had begun. The final transmission. Far beyond the solar system, machine intelligence clusters updated their strategic projections. New variable introduced. Humanity. Classification adjusted again. High adaptive. High resilience. High coalition potential. Extreme long-term threat. One final note was appended to the Galactic network. Proceed with caution. Humans convert adversity into advancement. Back on Earth, Elias looked out from orbit for the first time. The planet glowed blue and fragile beneath him. "We almost lost," he said quietly. Kylara stood beside him. "Yes." He smiled. "But we didn't." She nodded. "Because your species does not surrender easily." He laughed softly. "No, we don't." The stars stretched endlessly ahead. For the first time in history, humanity was not alone. And the galaxy had just learned something powerful. Humans are small. Humans are messy. Humans are unpredictable. But when the impossible arrives at their door, they open it. And they build something extraordinary.